at what point did we miss the idea that when you suspect that someone is a criminal, the first thing you do is to report and hand them over to the police, and not to take laws into your hands?
Exactly. Because, like I said, I'm a legal advisor to the Edo North. It's outside Uromi. Now, I've always advised, when you apprehend, because they fear too, allegedly, that the police usually compromise when they take this suspect to them. So you have done the video, you've arrested them, everybody is aware, take them to the police. Don't touch them. That is the advice I've given. When you make any arrest, make sure everybody is aware by posting it. Send the culprits or the suspect to the police. Don't touch anybody. Don't manhandle anybody. Don't beat anybody. Leave it to the police. But the public is already aware that you've arrested some persons suspected. So the police will owe it to a duty to the public to clarify whether they were actually criminal or not, subject to the investigation they have conducted. So it is condemnable. I am not in support of it, but I think we need to address the security situation in this community.
And there are all sides, a lot of issues here to be addressed. Whether, one of the things that is condemnable here is that the attack and the killing is not commensurate with whatever may have happened on the ground, at that moment, because we understand that guns were found on these hunters, and then one of them stabbed the vigilante, and that led to what it led to. But it's not commensurate, and killing murder is murder. But what I also wanted to ask you is, to address all the issues, is the issue of guns.
Yes.
What are the rules guiding the licensing and the use of guns in this country? Can people just move guns from one state to another?
No. But hunters are allowed to carry their Dâne guns. My uncle was a hunter, and I know that they have this Dâne gun. They have this bicycle Boris as bullets, and they use it to hunt. That one is allowed. If you are going to carry a pump action, you need to have a police license. AK-47, no license for any person to have private possession of AK-47. But we've seen a lot of these criminals. Like I said, I don't want to call them Fulanis, and I want to appeal to Nigerians to stop calling them Fulanis.
I think people just generally go with herders and terrorists.
Herders, terrorists, killers, criminals. Okay. So, but you see some of them in some of the videos we have seen in the past and currently, brandishing AK-47. Where did they get this from? So to reecho. But
you can move traditional guns, which are the Dâne guns.
The Dâne guns.
Move them so you can travel with your Dâne guns from one state to the other.
Yes. Before, it is the desperation and the fear and the frustration that made, an ignorance that caused this issue, the massacre in Uromi. Because these persons were with Dâne guns. Fulanis, the criminals, the killers, they don't carry Dâne guns. They carry AK-47. That's what they go about with. And then the vigilante have been trying their best to curtail this. And then back to the Edo State Security Network, immediately they resume, they asked the vigilante to return all their arms. These were arms that were acquired by the vigilantes themselves, to return them. Immediately those arms were returned, criminal attack escalated. At least I know of Edo State. You see S-men going to the farm, people were being kidnapped. The road, there is an alternative road leading from the Edo North to Benin. The main road, the major road, had issues. I think they have repaired it now. That road used to be unpassable, the alternative road, but they kept military there. Every pole you see military, so it was now fine to pass. You can drive there in the night. So I don't know what now happened. So the governor is supposed to look into it. The way the the vigilantes were disarmed was wrong, and the arms was never returned. So, and in every group, there is always a Judas. Even among the vigilantes, even among the military, we have informants. Military men have been arrested for passing information to Boko Haram. So, if the vigilantes were disarmed, the criminals would definitely know. Even if you are not going to use your arm, the fact that you have arm and the intruder is aware you have arm will make the intruder to be afraid to come close to you or to come and attack you first.
But shouldn't there be training? Because one of the things, one of the reasons I was asking you that question about the rules of licensing of arms and use of it, or the law that guides licensing and use in Nigeria, is, because the reaction from the vigilante, first of all, was because there were guns in the vehicle, according to what we heard, in the vehicle that was transporting the hunters. And so that's one of the things that we're reacting to, again, arising from insecurity in that region. And so just speak generally to the gaps in the vigilante structure in Nigeria, because there seem to be a lot of gaps where they have not been properly trained and acquainted with the laws and rules that guide security.
That is what I expect the governor to do. The governor has been doing well, but I think those advising the governor, what the first step is, after taking a census of the members of the vigilante, officially recognize them, assign training to them, how to use arm, how not to use arm, how to apprehend somebody with arm without killing the person except it's absolutely necessary to defend yourself, how to cooperate with the police. They have been cooperating with the police, but many of them were not trained. They just carry pump action, get license, and they, start working as vigilante. They are not trained. They need to be trained. Some of them cannot administer elementary first aid. They need to be trained on that. The idea of not attacking first, like a police will not attack you first unless it is professionally. They are not supposed to attack you first unless it is absolutely necessary to save you or to defend themselves. So all these are supposed to be put in place. And then no proper communication, because I gathered from a video, somebody who said he was the driver of the vehicle that conveyed those deceased, confirmed that he was arrested, handcuffed, and taken to the police division closest to that place. And then that brings me to the issue of police. Communication matters. They cannot say they didn't hear that such commotion was going on in town. It takes a while to bind, tie people to tires. I mean, 16 people are bonded. I mean, that takes a lot of time. I don't know. I don't understand. So maybe that is another issue for discussion. Police will have their own, issues and challenges that they cannot talk about openly. But that is not a justification. The man said he was taken to the police station. Later, he was released. And when he got back, he saw the massacre. So I am very sure he must have told the police, if it is true that he was taken to the police alive, he must have told the police that, the other persons I carried, were carrying Dâne guns. This vigilante group have, taken them. Police ought to rush to that place. So the vigilante, back to the questions you asked, vigilantes, they need to be upgraded. They are doing sacrificial jobs. Look at the vigilante working alongside the JTF, confronting Boko Haram. Some of them are killed all the time. We don't even know if the insurance we have long been proposing for security personnel, we also cover these vigilantes. We have not had government compensate members of the vigilante. And it is only once in a while the governor of a state will recognize them. Once in a while the king in that particular community will call them and host them. And then I think the local government of each community gives them some stipend. I think the vigilante should be properly handled and they understand the terrain. And I gathered Edo State is trying to get existing vigilante group to cooperate with the hunters now, the local hunters. They understand the bush.
And wouldn't that be very good for intelligence gathering and first response?
Yes, I think, like I said, this training, you need to let the vigilante and the hunters and other such bodies to know that they are sources of intelligence. But they are seeing themselves as a body that can confront, as a body that is like soldiers who are going to fight. No, yes, you can complement the operational effort of the security agencies personnel like DSS, police, and the rest, but don't see yourself as such force. We need to disabuse their mind and give them reorientation that they are not security forces. They are sources of intelligence gathering. So if you hear anything, pass the information across. And then they understand the terrain. If there's a criminal among them, police, for example, in my own community, the police will call and say, so person has committed an offense. The vigilante will go fetch that person and take the person to the police. So there have been this cooperation between the vigilante and the police. But the Edo State, and then I want to re-echo what the current director of DSS said. There are certain arms you can get license to use and you can protect your community. He said it openly, that you can protect your community. He made references to some communities where Boko Haram cannot enter because the members of the community decide to take their defense into their hands. They didn't wait for the military or the police. So that is encouraging, but you see, people are negatively exploiting that. What it meant is that you can defend yourself if you are legitimately.
Go on attack.
Yes, they don't go on attack.
But because of time.